Spells and sorcery in Elden Ring are some of the most powerful things to use in the game and an easy way to defeat many of the bosses in the game. In this video I'm going to be showing you the best early to mid game spells and where you can find them. So obviously I won't be going over all the best spells, so if you have any other recommendations let me know in the comments down below, help each other out. The Glenstone Pebble is one of the best early game spells in Elden Ring because of how cheap it is, the relatively quick casting time, and it can be accessed literally from the start of the game. If you're a mage build starting out, I highly recommend using this weapon because it's cheap, it's a reliable source of damage, and you can get it off really quickly. This is the starting spell for the astrology class, but other casters can purchase this from the Wayward Ruins from Sorcerer Cerulean. Once you beat the little boss, you can buy this from her pretty much right at the start of the game. So next up on the list is going to be the Swift Glenstone Shard. And some of you might be asking why I'm putting this on the list over something else, since it does kind of function the same as Glenstone Pebble. However, the spell is slightly cheaper to get off and it does slightly less damage, but the attack animation is so much faster, which allows you to spam it against bosses way quicker. There are going to be a lot of situations where you can't get a pebble off, so you might as well use this. Even though it does do a little bit less damage, it will be dealing heaps more damage in the long run. So you can purchase this from Sorcerer Cerulean, but you will have to deliver her the Academy Scroll, which you can get near the lake facing cliffs right after Stormville Castle. There is a graveyard right here. It's south of Lernia, the lakes. That general area has this. You just want to pick up the Academy scroll. Then when you get it, you just want to give it to her. She can teach you this spell. Next up on the list is Rock Sling, and this is one of the most powerful spells for the mid game section to use. I highly recommend pairing up the Rock Sling with the Meteorite Staff. The Rock Sling summons 3 rocks from the earth and sends them flying towards the target. The spell does a lot of damage, especially if all 3 rocks connect, and it also has a high chance of staggering the target really easily. The good thing is, since you get staggers off a lot, you have lots of opportunities to follow up with a critical hit or just keep spamming spells. So the Rock Sling is found in a chest in a cellar just north of the Streets of Sage Ruins in Caelid. You can just go grab this at the start of the game. You will need a little bit more intelligence to use the spell, so it may take a little bit of time for you to use it, but you can go and grab it right from the start of the game. So next up on the list is the Carrion Slicer, and the Carrion Slicer performs a swift and sweeping slash and using a magical sword. This attack acts as a melee attack, but it basically does magic damage, since this is a great spell for mages to use in those situations where you need like a melee option where you can't get away from a target. I highly recommend just keeping this spell on you because there will be a lot of situations where an enemy is too close to you and you can't use a ranged spell, so you will have to use a melee spell. You can also purchase this spell from Sorcerer Cerulean after you deliver her the Royal House Scroll. The Royal House Scroll is located at the top of the broken structure just near the Aguil Lake south side of Grace. So next up on the list is the Carrion Greatsword, which is almost like the Carrion Slicer. It's just a greatsword version, and this performs a giant sweeping slash with a greatsword. The spell acts very similarly to the Slicer, it's just a much larger sword, and the main reason that we're using this spell is primarily for a valuable spell to use on horseback. When you're on horseback, it can be a hard to aim spell accurately at the targets, and having a melee option, especially with the range that the greatsword has, is absolutely fantastic since you can hit multiple targets with this, and it's a great variation to use when you're on horseback as a mage user. The spell can be purchased from Muriel, Pastor of Vows at the Church of Vows. It's pretty expensive though, it'll cost you 10,000 runes, but you will absolutely get your money's worth by picking this up, and you can go to the west of the Lernia of the Lakes area and grab this as soon as you like. The next spell takes a bit longer to get to, but it's definitely worth it. This spell is the Loretta's Great Bow. It fires a great arrow from this giant bow. The spell has great range and damage potential. It can be charged up as well, so you can deal even more damage. It's a great opener for fights when enemies haven't seen you, and you can deal this huge amount of damage to them before they even come towards you. The only bad thing about this spell is it does take a while to charge up, but if you have an opportunity, I highly recommend using this since this can destroy bosses. So this spell is obtained by defeating the Royal Knight Loretta in the Carrion Manor just north of the Lernia of the Lakes area. You have to beat that boss and you'll be able to get this great bow. That's why it's a little bit later in the game. It's probably towards like the end of the mid game area, so I really wouldn't rush to get this straight away. And I also recommend doing the whole of Rhea Lucaria's Academy before doing this. So yeah guys, that's all I have for you guys today. If you do have any other spells that you recommend, let me know in the comments down below what your personal favorites are and also where you can find them so you can all help each other out. So yeah guys, thank you guys so much for watching till the end. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.